Drink. It's Japanese. It's meant to be the best in the world, but I couldn't tell you why. So.
No thanks.
Okay. Okay. How about I come in anyway? If not for a drink, then for whatever else you might want.
I think that's a good idea.
Do I scare you?
No?
We don't have to do anything if I'm not your type.
There's vampires at my door.
Hi, welcome to the Bencher Movie Club. My name's Charlie.
My name's Ben.
And in this special podcast, we're a little bit earlier. It might not be the one you're expecting. What's the next one expecting? Apartment.
The Apartment, yeah.
Yeah. That's because this is a brand new film, which Ben watched the other day and insisted we do a podcast on it. So that's why we're doing a podcast on it today. And the film is called All of Us Strangers, directed by Andrew Haigh, who also directed Weekend, Lean on Pete and 45 Years. It stars Andrew Scott, who's probably most famous as playing Moriarty in the TV series Sherlock. He was also in Spectre and Pride.
And Fleabag is probably he's really well known for.
I don't know Fleabag.
No, but that's what he is really well known for, Fleabag. I've never seen it, but he's like the hot priest.
Paul Mescal, who's in After Sun, Foe and Normal People. You got Jamie Bell, who was Billy Elliot, of course, who was in Rocket Man, Filth and Jumper. He actually wore brown contact lenses on this, so that he'd look more like Andrew Scott.
Yeah.
Claire Foy from The Crown, where she was Queen Elizabeth, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was the young queen.
Yeah. Women Talking and Unsane. And yeah, so what's the film about?
This young writer who he goes back to visit his mum and dad, and his mum and dad are like the same age as him. And it turns out
they're a bit younger than him, really.
Yeah.
Only slightly, but
Yeah.
I think he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
And they're like early 40s.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, 'cause I remember looking, thinking, how is that his mum and dad? See, a lot of this film, I was sitting there thinking, I don't understand what's going on, because first of all, when you see his dad, obviously, before we go on with any of this, there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, go and watch the film and then come back to the podcast after that. But, there was the bit in it with his dad. I thought he was cruising his dad.
Yeah, I did.
I thought, oh, that's some fella that he's cruising, and then he takes him back to the house, and then you find out it's his dad, and then his mum's there, and it's like, how's that his dad?
Because even when he goes to him, well, where are we going? I'm going home.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, he's meaning like, I'm going to take you home.
Yeah.
Because I knew that Jamie Bell was in it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea that the log line or the plot for the film is revealed so openly, because I knew about this film through a trailer.
Yeah.
Which didn't reveal what was happening. I looked on IMDb and I looked at the synopsis, and it says a young writer goes back to his family home and finds his parents the same age they were when they died, or something like that. And you think, well, you've just spoiled a big part of the film.
Because I was trying to figure out, because I had watched this film without knowing anything about it. I hadn't read anything up about it. I'd seen a clip of it on TikTok about a month ago, and I looked and I thought, I want to get the name of that. It looks quite interesting. It was the bit where he goes to the door. I see that clip, you know, when he first meets Harry, when Harry and Adam first meet, and he goes to the door with the bottle of whiskey. And I looked and thought, oh, I'll give that a go.
I like whiskey.
Yeah, I like whiskey. I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
So I come across it the other day. Didn't know nothing about it. So I watched it. I didn't know it was his mum and dad, first of all.
Yeah.
Then I figured out it's his mum and dad, and I thought, there's a strange thing going on with the mum and dad.
So they're a bit young to be.
They're a bit young, and it was very 80s. Yeah, you just sort of, I just went along with it. I didn't think about it, I was just watching it. Then we find out then that's his mum and dad, and he talks about the car crash. They had a car crash around about Christmas time.
She lost her eye.
The dad died instantly.
And she died a little while later.
Yeah, and so then you find out that. And I think that was around about 1987, from what I can work out, because when I looked up when he was writing a book, I think he was mentioning it in the book. and it said, I think, Christmas 1987. So it's like
Well, I
late
worked
80s.
out it was about that because I thought, assuming that he's meant to be about the same age as the character that he's
Yeah.
based on, I worked out that he was 12, like round about that time, late 80s.
Yeah. So then, but then there's that part. Obviously, there's this. He's got this relationship going with this young bloke who comes up to his door with the bottle of whiskey, and he says, like,
He rejects him, doesn't he?
He rejects him. Yeah. He sort of, and then he sees him later on, and he sort of, they sort of get together.
Yeah.
He says he goes like, one thing I found weird as well. Sorry, going back from this, is the fact that it's a tower block in the middle of London.
Yeah.
Right. It's empty.
I think it's a new build.
Yeah, but there's no one there.
Yeah, it's a.
So it started making me think, is he dead?
Oh, the main guy.
Yeah.
No, I think what it's meant to be is it's a new build. So it's like where I'm working at the moment. There's a big tower block opposite, literally there, and one of the people working in my store lives in it, and hardly anyone else does. It must be weird if you move into a brand new tower block and there's hardly anyone there, and you think,
Yeah, especially like in London.
yeah, but
But it looks like he's been living there for a while. It doesn't look like it's a brand new place. He's just moved in. There's boxes everywhere. It's like he's lived there for a while.
His house seems a little bit messy, but it's. You can relate to him, like at the beginning he's sitting there wanting to type, and then it cuts to him just laying there watching daytime telly. So it's like procrastinating.
Yeah.
And then there's a fire alarm, isn't it? So he has to go wait outside.
But then
You
there's
can
no
see-
one else goes
there's-
out.
You see like another couple
There's
out there
one
or something,
couple and that's it.
and he looks up to the window and sees Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Harry
It says
standing.
Harry standing at the window.
in
So
the-
in this whole block of flats, there's 3 people living in the block.
No, I think there's
bit-
more than that. But it's probably not a lot.
Yeah.
And this happens with every tower block in London. When a tower block opens, they don't automatically go boom, it's filled up with places.
I just thought it was very strange. London, and it was like, the fact that it was just empty and dead. But anyway, okay, taken away from that. Yeah, he meets this young man. They start a relationship, and
he spends time with him, but then he'll go and spend time with his mum or dad. Like they said, when you come here next time, it might just be one of us.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it is. I think like he.
next time he goes, it's just his mum.
Yeah.
And then he comes out to his mum. And obviously now you found out she died in the 80s. Her attitude is a little bit different to an attitude of now times. I just found it really fascinating. I mean, I think maybe because I was sort of like the age group of what he would have been. So it's similar sort of... I would have been roughly about the same sort of age. I think he actually would have been a little bit younger than me, a couple of years younger than me. But it just resonated with me. I loved the 80s and the 80s songs and the mystery thing and the way that they died at Christmas, and that he never got to tell them. He never sort of got to know them. They never got to know him as an adult. They never got to sort of see how his life changed.
Or find out about his sexuality and everything. Yeah.
And there was obviously some things there with his mum, and she's like, she says, she goes, I wish I could have been a better mother, and I hope I would have learnt to be better. It's just like neither of them are bad parents. They were both good parents, but there's no rule book with parents, is there?
No.
You don't get no rule book, but he sort of it's like he's putting that to bed. Maybe he's writing that.
Yeah.
That he's finally sort of saying things that he was never able to say, and he's getting to know them as adults.
Yeah.
A lot of closure there.
It's very well shot. It's very like from the beginning, like the cinematography is really good, and like especially like the transitions. Like there's a bit where he sort of gets up, and then he walks almost to the door, and he's in the club again.
Yeah.
There's loads of like little shots like that, and
it is really well filmed. It is really well filmed. See, the thing is, I know obviously I was a bit like I didn't know you would like this film because this is not your kind of thing, because it's like a sort of a gay themed film. I would show Mum and Rose probably, but then I don't like it when there's too much graphic sort of stuff in it.
Yeah.
If there's not too much graphic,
there is
a little bit, but not as much as what in some other films, because I think then it's sort of like I feel a bit.
You mean pornos?
No. But I'm talking about there's not that much graphic sort of stuff in this. It's like, so I thought it is a little bit, but not enough that it takes over the story. It's more of a romance kind of thing, and there's more of the story that's going on around the whole situation. That's why I thought that this would be an okay one for you to watch. But
I'm okay watching any of it.
No, I know you are.
I know what you mean. I found because there's quite a few scenes where they're sleeping together, and it got to a point I thought, is this going to be all the way through the film? Because I think it happens 2 or 3 times, and I thought, is this what the film's just going to be like?
It's more than
But then
that.
it sort of goes away from that. I liked it.
Yeah.
If it was a straight couple, I would have said the same thing. I would have gone, why do they keep having sex?
Yeah.
We don't need to see that. We could see them out on a date. But I suppose it's different because their whole point was, like, when they grew up in the 80s, it was so ashamed to be.
Well, that's
gay.
what it was like. That's what it
and
was
you had
like.
like where she mentions about the AIDS, and she's like, "Oh God," and he's like, "It's
And
different.
he goes,
now.
it's nothing
different
like
now."
that now, yeah.
And you got the scene where he says to him, "I want us to go out together. I want us to actually go somewhere together. We'll hold our heads up high," and they're holding hands on the train.
Because I think he's holds a lot of stuff inside with his sexuality sort of thing. I think he's sort of still, like, I think he learned to hide it when his mum and dad died because.
Well, he didn't want his mum because he didn't know how they'd react.
No.
And his dad, like when he tells his dad's like, "Well, I knew because you couldn't kick the ball."
Yeah.
Like,
Which I felt that sounds like me and Dad.
yeah. But I felt like
I think there's a lot of bits there that maybe sort of I could sit and think, like, because obviously
could
our dad's
resonate
dead
with
now.
you.
Our
Yeah.
dad's dead, and it's like, and I sort of think, even though Dad knew about me, I feel that, you know, there's certain things when you're young and the not knowing and not sort of and feeling like you are at a place. That's why I could familiarise with this film, because it's round about the same sort of time as where I was at that age as well. You know, like I was having these feelings, and you do keep a lot of it in, and you do, especially in the 80s. For someone nowadays, you're not going to understand this because you're going to think, well, everything's okay and everyone's proud, and this. It wasn't like that then. You've got to understand, it wasn't like that, and it was made fun of a lot of the time. It was like, "Oh, you puff," and this and that. You know, it was quite a derogatory.
Well, they have that interesting conversation, don't they, about whether they prefer to be called queer or gay.
Yeah. See, I don't like either of them.
No.
Like, I don't like queer.
No.
I feel queer. Queer is now a new one that's been adapted, but I think when I was younger, I was, "Oh, shut up, you queer." You know, like that kind of thing. Not I was called that, I don't think. But I mean, it was quite an aggressive.
It was like an insult,
kind of.
yeah.
Oh, you queer and all this. Or like, and gay was like, "Oh, look at him, so gay." But I would prefer gay
shoes
to
are
queer.
gay.
Yeah, but it's like there was always nothing really bothered me so much that I can think of. Maybe it did at the time, but I can't. It's been such a long time ago now. But I think that's what it is with this film. I think there's a lot of things that I could resonate with, and I looked at, and maybe the age group thing. But I did find myself really fascinated by the story and by what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand it, and I didn't get that bit at the end. And I thought, oh, I didn't see that coming. And also, it's given me a whole brand new love for that song, "The Power of Love," which I never liked.
I never liked that song.
I never liked that song. It's been one of them ones that I've heard so many times over the years, and I listened to it, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely love that song now.
See, Andrew Haigh, this was obviously a very personal film for him, and he said in an interview about he remembers, like, the reason there's so many 80s songs in it, because he remembers growing up as like when he was young and gay, and he loved that song, and he envisioned one day he could make a gay film, and he could have that song in it and go, "Oh, wouldn't that be great? It would never happen."
Yeah.
So it was almost
See,
like,
I would love that.
you could tell it was a very personal film for him, so
Yeah.
you can imagine loads of the stuff in it is stuff he can relate to. And when I was watching it, I thought, if Mum and Dad had died when you was 12, which you're about the same age as him anyway, because
I think he's 47, I'm 49.
Yeah, okay.
So it's only a couple of years, but we're roughly the same sort of age.
You said he was 12 in 87. How old was you in 87?
Well, I was 14.
Yeah, so pretty much.
Yeah.
So if that had happened to, like, Mum and Dad, so long before you came out, then it would be one of those things you'd think about, go, imagine going back in time and being their age, which we've talked about anyway.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird to share a pint with Dad if you was the same age as him?
Yeah.
You know? And I think all the main 4 actors are all great in it. I think they're all really
Brilliant.
good.
All of them really good.
Jamie Bell's done brilliant from Billy Elliot. We was talking about the other day about child actors. But he's like, when I see him in Rocket Man and Filth,
Yeah.
and
But he's brilliant in this. I love him.
He's brilliant.
He's a really nice. He's like a nice dad.
Yeah.
And she's a nice mum.
Because he was obviously scared, thinking, how are they going to
As my
react?
dad, and like when he gives a cuddle from his dad and all that, he goes, "Can I have a hug?" And he plays it so well. That Andrew Scott is very emotional, like the emotion in it, and also that Paul Mescal.
Yeah,
he's like they play these characters so well that they're so vulnerable and they're so likable, and that's why that end is so sad when you sort of he goes in to find him. He takes him to the mum and dad's house, doesn't he? And like obviously the house is empty. And he's like banging on the doors, let me in, and that Harry's going, look, come away, look, they're not here, what are you doing? They're dead. And you see their ghosts. They go for a day out, and he takes them for a milkshake, and he sits and starts talking to them.
In an American diner, isn't it? And that's actually the last scene that Jamie Bell and Claire Foy shot with him.
Yeah.
So it was actually them sort of saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And if you noticed in that scene as well, the dad says goodbye first.
Yeah.
Because he died first.
He died first.
And then as soon as he died, she's like, I can't see you.
Yeah.
I can't see you. Because that's when her eyes... There was loads of scenes in it. I thought, oh, it's really sort of emotional. Like, I can imagine... Usually when I watch things, it's the first time round... I'm okay. It might catch me off guard once or twice, but I can imagine if I watch this film again, I'd be crying a lot because I've seen this scene when this happens, and like
I think it's so lonely that when he finds him and he goes to tell him, and then he finds that he died that night where he should have let him in, and it's like if I'd let you in, he goes that night I really needed someone, and
so that's when he died.
He went home and died that night.
So the whole relationship between them was like basically him and a ghost.
Yeah.
Because there was one point when it's like he wakes up and he's not there and he goes to the club. I thought, oh, he's going to catch him with another bloke.
That's what I thought.
But it doesn't happen.
But that's what I like as a fact, because usually in the gay relationship film, one of them cheats, one of it's nothing like that. It's just about it's a relationship and they both love each other.
But he happens to be dead.
But he's dead the whole way through it, and it's like, but he wasn't that first time he met him. He pushed him away because he was scared, and then it's just sort of like he's obviously gone home and he's had some drugs and drink and he's just died. Either he's killed himself or he's just died in his sleep or he's had a heart attack. Something's happened that he's been laying there, and the sad thing is he goes that like no one family. That comes like my mum and my dad or my brother and sister, no one's, and it's sad, you know.
Because his family had more of a negative reaction. Well, I say more of a negative because obviously he never came out to his parents while they were alive.
No.
But this was the other thing. When I was watching it at first, I thought, is this all in his mind?
Yeah.
Were they in his mind? But I don't think they were.
No.
I think they were ghosts.
Yeah.
Because it was actually based on a Japanese book called Strangers by Taichi Yamada from 1987. It was made into a film called The Discarnates, which is a Japanese horror a year later. But Japanese culture accepts the presence of ghosts anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, it's ghosts. It's like, oh, it's ghosts.
Yeah.
They accept it. So that is why it's not usual in the Western world. In the Western world, they make more of a big deal of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was assuming he's lost the plot a bit. He's imagining what he would be like talking to his mum and dad. But it's only sort of afterwards, looking back on it, I thought, no, they were actually there.
It's something about this film, it really resonated with me, and something captured me with this film that I have been watching so many interviews with the stars, reading as much as I can about it, trying to find as much information as I can about it, because you know when something it just touches you in a way, and I just felt like
I want to know more.
I want to know more about this, and I just found it was just such a beautiful film.
How many times you watched it?
I think I've watched it about 3 times already. Yeah,
I'd definitely watch it again. I'd watch it with Lily.
Yeah,
and you know, I think she'll like it.
Yeah. Interesting as well. Andrew Haigh his childhood home was used as Adam's childhood home. That was his actual childhood home. So it's like us going back to Booker Close and filming a film in Booker Close.
So it is a very personal film for him. Obviously.
Yeah. So I can imagine this must be. It's such a beautiful thing for this director.
Yeah.
For him to see this dream that he's always had, because I would love something like this. I would love to put something as personal and as touching and as magical as this out there like that, and for it to be so well received as it is. I mean, it's getting so many good reviews about it, and it's such a lovely story, and it's such an unusual story, and it's just it's sad. It's really sad, but it's beautiful as well at the same time.
See, this is a little grievance I have with the critics, because this done well at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
and Andrew Scott, rightly so, was nominated for Best Actor at the Golden Globes, and it looked as often when Golden Globes is a precursor for the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
So you'd have thought the film and him at least would have got nominations.
Yeah.
But they're not. They've been snubbed from the Academy Awards. And I've watched quite a few of the... I want to do a podcast for the Academy Awards, and I've watched quite a few of the Best Film nominations, and I think this is better than vast majority of them.
Yeah.
I've watched actually a couple of films lately which came out in 2023, and the amount of times when I look at the ones that they think, oh, this is an Academy-worthy film, I'm not going to say which ones yet, I'll wait until we do our Academy podcast, but I look and I think, they're so obvious, they've only made that to try and win awards. They're just thinking, tick this box, tick this box, tick this box. Whereas this one, I'm surprised it hasn't been nominated, because obviously it's got the LGBTQ angle, which you think, okay, well that'll keep the Academy happy. But on top of that, it's got a great story, it's got fantastic acting. I think all four of them should be nominated.
Yeah.
Claire Foy was great in it.
Fantastic. As you said, each one of them are so believable, and they all bring so much to the role, and it's such a nice ensemble. You know, they all are as important as each other.
And I think there's a really good bit with her because obviously when he first comes out to her, she's shocked. I think she's more shocked.
Yeah, but she's not horrible to him.
No, but
she's shocked. But she's like, I think maybe scared, like Mum would have been for me.
She's
you know?
she's like, no, of course, who'd wish that upon their child?
Yeah.
Which you can see by
like Mum was for me when I first told Mum. She was like, she acted like everything was right, but she's afterwards finding out she was having sleepless nights because she was worried about. She knew what the gay scene was like, because when she used to hang around on the gay scene in the 60s, she used to go to gay clubs and all that. She knew what the gay scene was like, and she felt that I was gonna be a victim of the gay scene, and like be used and abused, and you know, and like worried that my nature, like I was going to end up sort of getting damaged by it, or you know. So
you see, even when I was watching it, I was thinking as if like, again, if Mum and Dad had died while you was a child and they were still together, you'd look back and think, this is possibly how they would have reacted.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I think I would took away with that. I felt as though there's part of me sort of imagining that. But this is not only just gives me one little thing with this film, it gives me all that sort of the nostalgia of the 80s and the mum and dad and all that, but also there's the relationship thing with him, and then also the twist that they're dead and that he's dead, and it was just giving me so much.
I think it elevates it a bit more, rather than just being, say, like another, say, gay drama.
Yeah.
It's got that supernatural element to it. Which...
And it's so sad. It is so sad, because you feel like, oh, if only you'd let him in. Oh, if only that... You know, then you'd have this happy life, and you needed each other, and you'd have been so good. And it is really sad. It's just, there's a lot of, just something about this film just really touched me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it.
I think it's really good how the conversations are really believable, and I like how he gets this closure with his parents, because it's obviously the one thing that's hooked on his mind. The people he loves the most, he never got to tell him who he was.
And Christmas time as well.
But what I like
singing to him, you were always on my mind, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of the bits I started tearing up, because
he's sort of seeing it like that.
It was after she realises she's thought about it. The dad said, "Listen, I'm not bothered."
He goes, "You know what your mum's like. She'll be alright. She'll come round."
And that was her way
of saying to him that she accepts him.
Yeah. So that bit got me choked up.
Yeah, no, it's a brilliant. I loved it. I really did love it. So I'm glad. Oh, the nightclub scenes was all shot at the Vauxhall Tavern, which is a big gay club. Originally titled Strangers. I think I probably have been to the Vauxhall Tavern. I can't remember. I've been so many places.
You're going to go there now, aren't you?
I will go there
this
now.
way, shot
I'm going to try and find my ghost. Yeah.
See,
that happened to me. I'll find someone who end up being a fucking ghost.
See, I was on the whole time when he came into it. I was sort of on edge, because I've seen so many dramas where things go south. Yeah. When a character you're supposed to like,
something dodgy was going to. There's going to be something dodgy about him.
I thought he might turn violent or something like that.
There's something.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that it was the fact that he's been laying dead downstairs all this whole time, and no one in his family had even found him, and that's the sad thing I found.
Yeah.
You know, he's been laying there all that time, and I just found that really emotional. And that song at the end, I've never listened to that song and liked that song. I've been listening to it on my phone all the time now. I listen to it's like the words in it. So like when I put it on the Instagram
that's what he says to him
page,
when he opens
you know,
the door,
that's the
innit?
song I'm going to use for the poster.
Yeah. When he knocks on the door, doesn't he say something like,
I'll get vampires from your door, yeah. But it's that, yeah, I just loved it. I really loved it. There's something about this film, I don't know what it was, but it touched me, and I think it's touched a lot of people. And I didn't know what to expect. I'm glad that I didn't know anything about it when I started watching it. Because first of all, as I said, when he sees his dad, and he follows him, and it's like, I thought he's gone to prove
when I
his
see
dad.
that bit, like,
I thought, is it going to be one of them
afterwards-
dramas where they're just going around shagging around, all this kind of thing?
But I was actually explaining to Mum.
Yeah.
She's going, what's going on there? I said, he's obviously picked out something like Hampstead Heath or something like that. They've gone there. It's obviously a place where guys meet
with his
up.
bottle of drink.
He's waiting
let's
outside.
go home. Sort of.
And I thought, and it weren't until he's knocked on the door, and then I started thinking, is it his brother?
She goes, it's you. Yeah, it is you. Yeah,
I thought maybe
that's
it's his
it, brother. And, yeah.
But then you think, but no, because then you realise no, it is his mum and dad.
Yeah. But I love that. I love that thing about it. As you said, I think there's part of me looking, thinking, if this had happened to me, if mum and dad, I thank God mum and dad.
It would have been your film.
This would have been that would have been
Yeah.
me going. Oh, this is what I wonder what mum and dad would have felt. Would they have accepted me? Would they have I never got a chance to tell them. Do you reckon they knew? And how would they be about it? You know. So and as I say, growing up in the 80s, like people today, like people that come out as being gay and don't realise exactly how easy it is. It's so easy compared to what it was like when I was young. But then it is even worse for people young, older than me. Like coming out, then it was like illegal.
When it was illegal,
it was illegal, you know, and you'd get put in prison. It's like so. It's like I had it hard, but other people had it harder. But then there's always going to be problems.
Well, it's
not such a negative thing now. Like it's not such a dirty secret that you
now
keep
it's just
held
seen
in.
as
I
normal.
felt I was the only one. I felt like at the time I felt I was the only one, and there was no films on the telly. There was nothing like this. There was nothing that I could relate to. It was all sort of jokey kind of gay people like John Imran and like Kenneth Williams and it was all that kind of over the top caricature kind of, and I thought I ain't like that. No. And that's what really sort of confused me, and I was like, I don't want to be like that.
The thing is, I think in this country in particular, this is one of the most forward-thinking countries. I think here in this, like when Lily came out to me, I wasn't bothered at all.
No.
If anything, I was happy because I thought, oh, good, I ain't got to worry about teenage pregnancies. and she was worried, and I said, well,
no matter what generation you are, you're always going to be worried telling your parents because you feel like you're letting them down. And I felt I was letting my mum and dad.
Yeah.
I felt I was letting mum and dad down.
Yeah,
you know, I felt I was letting everyone down, and it was like. It's not a choice, and you realise that if that's the case, if that is the way I am, I wanted it to change for so many years. I thought, oh, it's a phase. I was told it was a phase. I kept thinking, oh, brilliant, it's a phase. And I kept thinking, when's this phase going to end? And you keep it inside because you can't talk to no one about it. Who could I talk to about it when I was younger? Mum and Dad divorced when I was 10, so I had no one to sort of talk to about stuff. I had to keep a lot of stuff hidden, like inside. I had to help bring news free up.
But do you think if Mum and Dad had stuck together, if they were still together, well, he'd probably still be alive if he was still with her.
Yeah.
But if they were still together, do you think it would have been easier to come out to say mum, or do you think it would have been harder?
I don't know.
Because you got mum.
I was actually. I didn't have a bad time coming out. I think I built it up so much. I built it up to the stage where I was willing to walk away from my family because I thought. They're all going to turn their back on me, so I've now got to make a life. I've got to have to move away. How wrong I was, I don't know, because people would be going, "Why would you think that? Why would you think that you was that alone, or you was that unloved that we're going to chuck you out of the family, kind of thing?" But it's in your brain. That's how you think.
I think another thing about it is until you actually know someone, know someone close to you, you don't realise how it's not a big deal.
No,
because. I remember vividly. I found out like you didn't come out to me. You told Mum, and Mum told me.
Yeah, I told her to tell you and George, and I told Rose.
And I was, I think, 15. And if someone had asked me a few days earlier, what would you do if you found out your brother was gay? Mum, I would have gone, oh, I wouldn't have nothing to do with him because I was.
Yeah.
But I remember as soon as she told me, I was just like, don't care.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, Mum, I don't care who George is seeing, who Rosie's seeing. I don't care who Ben's seeing.
Yeah.
As long as they're happy, that's all that matters. And I was pleased that was my genuine reaction. It was like, Nothing's changed.
I was surprised with Dad.
I was in
as
Book of
well. I thought
Clothes.
Dad would be so, because Dad was not really. He was quite old school and he was quite homophobic in ways. And I thought he'd be like fucking puff this that, but he was fine. He was good as gold. So I built things up so much in my brain that I over dramatised it, as I always did.
But this is the thing. I think loads of people, like some shallow-minded people, and I think often it would be people who do have this conflict themselves, which they never tackle.
I found that
they're so violent against. I don't want to go near them because they don't want to question it themselves.
Yeah.
But I think most people who are comfortable in themselves
don't care.
They care about as much about your sexuality as they do about the dream you had last night. You know when people start telling you about their dreams, and you're like, it means the world to you. I couldn't care less.
And that's the way it should be. But I think, like years ago, it was such a big deal because it was so different. It is so different to today. Anyone from my generation will tell you the same. It wasn't an easy ride. I didn't know any other gay people. I didn't know of any gay people when I was younger. Of course there was gay people around. I didn't know of any. We come from a massive big family. We my mum was 1 of 9. We had loads of cousins, aunts, uncles. I didn't know anyone that was gay.
I don't think it's the same thing in America. I think it's still a big stigma in America because you think in this country how many actors, which you've got to think acting's got to be one of the gayest professions. It's literally someone who's being flamboyant, wants attention.
But you've got to think, I suppose America's so much bigger and it's so diverse because it is so
you've got like some concentrated areas, places in New York, San Francisco, stuff like that, where it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But if you go to say Middle America, or you go to the Bible Belt, or you go to all these other places, it's still the kind of thing that people hold. They're sort of a bit scared because you've got the small town mentality. You know, but also if you look at Hollywood, you think of all these actors who. How many gay American actors can you name?
I'm sure I can't think of any off the top of my head, to be truthful.
But how many gay British actors can you name? Loads.
Yeah.
Because in this country, it's always been like, oh no, he's gay, he's not. He's gay, he's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a big deal.
No.
Andrew Scott in this, he's gay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think.
No, he's not. The other one
Paul
isn't.
Mescal,
no, Paul Mescal he's not gay. He's straight.
But I think it shows. Even like say Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy spoke about how he sort of dabbled in it and stuff. But he's straight.
But he's straight. But the thing is as well, I'll tell you what I love about. I've seen interviews with Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal. They get on so well. They are so, like you can see, they really enjoy each other's company. If it was too sexually graphic, I would have been a bit more uncomfortable letting you see it. I'd have been like, oh, he's going to think I don't really like showing any. I want to show you the story. I don't really want to show the sex parts of it. Mum and Rose, it wouldn't bother me so much. I think in front of me brothers, I'd be like, I don't really want them sort of showing that because it's sort of a bit what's the name? Do you know what I mean? But it's not that bad. It's a little bit. But it ain't as bad as some of the other films where it's a lot more graphic. But I think the story is so much bigger than the small sex scenes in it that it takes away from that. So you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't. It's not all about the sex scenes. But they're really close, and I think what it shows is they've got a really loving relationship, as opposed it ain't just a sexual relationship. They've got like there's a love there. There's a like they're cuddling up. They're like sort of he's having a bath. They're sort of talking to each other.
A genuine connection. Yeah,
they're holding each other. It's like a genuine connection.
See, I don't. It's not like I said, "Oh, I can't watch this. I can't watch that."
Well, you've never been like that because you're confident in your sexuality, and like with our cousin Adam. Like I've been gay bars we used to, and used to have been good as gold. Like you don't care because you used to both straight. Yeah. But because you're both secure in yourself, if someone comes up and says, "Can I buy you a drink?" You're like, "Oh, thanks, no, I'm all right." Because
I don't care. It gives me an ego boost. But no, it's. I thought it was a really good film. I think. I can't really fault it on many parts. As I said, the only reason I said I think the sex scenes were going on because I thought, is this what the film's about? I say it's equivalent to, say if I was showing you an action film, but he had a really good story.
Yeah.
And after about 3 scenes of these big fights, and I'm thinking, I know he's got to get through that bit.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I was thinking. It is. I was thinking it's a bit awkward. I'm thinking it's a bit graphic-y, this bit, and.
If I'd seen if it was deliberately graphic, but they hid stuff well.
It's good, you don't see anything you don't need to see, and it does cut off before anything really. But I think there's the love story is what shines through with this. So and that's what I love about it.
Do you think this is a good representation of what it's like to be a gay man modern
yeah,
days, like
I'd say
the
so.
scene, the life, how people
I'd say
chat,
so.
how, because this is the other thing I think about. Obviously, I don't think about it that much, but as a straight man, I go throughout my day oblivious anyway to everything,
Yeah.
to signals from blokes and stuff like that. So if a bloke came knocked on my door,
Yeah.
I'd be like, "You all right, mate?
Yeah.
Is it something they? Because you like,
Oh no, I don't get blokes knocking on my door like that.
no, I know. But it's like when we was watching it, like me and Mum was watching it, and at that scene she went, "Oh, he didn't seem too happy about it, did he? The
It's a bit forward.
Andrew Scott guy." And I went, "Well, I don't know, because from imagine it as a man and woman,
Yeah.
they was holding hands a bit longer. I
Yeah.
thought, they obviously have a bit of connection
And I
there.
think he liked him, but he was a bit nervous. He didn't want to let him in at that moment,
Yeah.
which is such a shame, because if he had let him in at that moment, he would have been okay. But
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
I
you
think
should let
that's-
someone in as
No,
soon as
no,
they
of course
knock
not.
on
But
the
I
door.
love the fact that it was. I think that was a bit I did not see that coming at the end, when he was like, I thought, what's he done? I thought he'd just taken his life. I thought he's just killed himself.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, why has he killed himself? And then I didn't realise, no, he's been dead all this time. Because that's when he's like the smell, and he's holding his nose, as though like there's the smell, but the body's been rotting for weeks.
Because there's the scene when he's knocking on the door. I
Yeah.
thought this is when it's going to turn out it's all in his mind.
Yeah.
But it's when he sees them and you think, is that them?
Yeah.
And then you see Harry.
Yeah.
Just look a bit shocked. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, he can see them.
And they see him.
And that's when I thought,
Yeah.
okay, well maybe it's not in his imagination.
And that's why I liked this film, because there was so many things going on. It doesn't give you time to sit and try and guess what's going to happen, because you're thinking, what's going on here? So okay, right, his mum and dad dead, and then I noticed that with his dad saying goodbye first, then the mum going, I can't see you, and then, I can feel you now, I can hold you. That's it. So obviously with her dying second and being blinded and having her eye missing.
Yeah.
And all that, and it's making sense. And it was their closure. And then he was going to tell him, look, I've told him, that's it. I'm not going to see them no more. Everything's back to normal now. Everything's okay. We can now live our life together. And then he goes and finds him dead in his flat. And I thought that's just really heartbreaking.
I think that's a bit sad. Yeah, that's sad. But also, you think in this it acknowledges the existence of ghosts, and he can interact with them.
Yeah.
And he cuddles him, and he sort of disappears and turns into a star almost. So I think, yeah, that's a bit of a bittersweet thing at the end. But I think overall it's a positive story, especially about his relationship with his parents.
I love it. I love this film. I really did love this film. And from what I think about it, very rarely does a film get me wanting to start looking on YouTube to see interviews, to find out more about him, and also then I think that made me love it even more with the banter between these two. They're so funny with each other, and I thought they've got a right genuine friendship there, and it just makes you love the film even more.
Yeah.
All the cast, and as I say, it's very small cast. It's them four, right, in the cast. Each of them are so important, and each of them deliver.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant film. I'm so glad you liked it, because I didn't know what you was going to make of it, because you might have gone, oh yeah, it's alright, it's not really my cup of tea, whatever. But I'm glad you did like it.
Oh no, I did. You know what? We was talking about Hitchcock before when we was doing Vertigo, and that's when I was saying about I like the sort of darker supernatural type things, and I like that element.
You'd notice more in it when you see it the second time round.
Yeah, I think so.
You would look now and you'd go, because I did when I watched it a second time. I looked and went, right, okay, I see that, and you'd notice like, little Easter eggs all over the place and little clues. And I love going back to his old house, and they're putting up the Christmas tree, and it is very 80s in there.
And he has like bits where he looks in the mirror when he's hugging his dad, and he sees him as a child.
There's a child hugging his dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some lovely bits in it, and it is lovely.
No, it's really well made. I like
Yeah.
that they don't feel they have to explain what's happening too much.
No.
It's one of those things. It gives you enough respect that you can make up your own
Yeah.
mind. It was really good. So what's it got at the moment on IMDb?
Right, on IMDb, it's 8%, which is good out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 96 by the critics and 92 by the audience, so it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was the other day, it was 5.3 million, it's now 8.2 million. And that's about 3 or 4 days ago. So it's going up.
Budget?
The budget. I don't know what the budget is. I can't find the budget. But I say probably a couple of mil. Say 2-3 mil, maybe.
Possibly.
But it had made 5.2
But see, with
the other day.
Yeah.
I checked it again today, and it's 8.2 to. So it's gone up at about 3 million in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So it's going up. So it's not long been released over in the UK. It was released in the States, I think, on the 22nd of December, and it's released over here on the 12th of Jan. So it's only been out for a while. That's why I wanted to do this, because I see it and I thought, right, I don't want to wait till like this is not relevant.
Yeah, it's still in the cinema.
It's still in the cinema now, so that's why I wanted to get this one recorded and released, because it touched me. You know, when you get a film that I just wanted to talk about because it's got so much in it that I can resonate with, and I just felt like.
Yeah, you want to talk
really,
about it.
yeah, I
you want
felt
to
really
express
attached to this film,
and this is the best way to do it, because now you can just sort of pass on the podcast. Although hopefully the most people who listen to this would have seen the film, and not known too much about it. It's like I will recommend it to people, but I'll say don't read the synopsis.
Don't read nothing, because I sent you something the other day and it said about a ghost thing, and I quickly had to delete it because I thought, if he sees that, he's going to go ruin it.
As I said, I already knew that part, and I thought, well, and ironically,
but you didn't know about him being a ghost at the end.
No, but
did you see that coming?
No.
And what did you think about that scene?
I thought it was good.
I thought it was the ended nice?
And and as I said, it's sad that the guy's dead.
Yeah.
But even at the time, you're still asking questions. Going, has he killed him? Has he done? What's happened here? And you weren't sure. And
it's because he's got the bottle of whiskey that he came up to the door with.
Yeah, he's wearing the same clothes.
He's wearing the same clothes.
Yeah. No, so it's a very good film. So go check it out. If it's called All of Us Strangers, and it's on at the moment in the cinema.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching that one, Joel. Just catch up with our normal podcast. We don't know I can't remember what we're supposed to be doing next.
No, next week on Valentine's Day is The Apartment. So go back to that.
Yeah, so give this film a look, and thanks for listening, and catch us on Facebook, on Instagram, on
Spotify, YouTube,
all the old stuff, you know. Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Take care. Catch up with you soon. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
God, look at you.
What?
You were just a boy. But now you're not.
No.
You look totally different, but it's still you. Well, I thought you'd be hairier. Like your dad.
Okay, sorry.
Like a hairy chest myself.
Okay.
Christ, do you know who you remind me of?
Who?
You look just like my dad.
Did he?
I remember him anyway when I was a little girl. God, isn't that mad? It's like seeing you both exactly the same time. Oh. I've made your favourite. Well, I hope it's still your favourite. I'm just going to pop the kettle on and then you can tell me everything.